morning, traders, and welcome to My Future TV. My name is Adona, and I am your hostess. We'll be talking ideas, we'll be talking setups, and whatever it takes to make you a better trader. This show is not only created to entertain and engage you, but to also make you a better trader. I myself am not a professional trader or an expert trader, but I will be the voice for the chat. So we welcome all of your questions. A little overview of today's show. We'll dive into ES and NQ, and then we'll have some educational lessons of the day, and then we'll welcome a very special guest. So stay tuned. All right, so now let's welcome Luke. Hi, Luke. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Everyone's so excited to see you. They're like, "Where's Luke? Where's Luke? Luke is missing."
Late per usual. I'm late every day.
He's always late. Always
Yep.
late. Okay, Luke. Well, tell us about the US market today. How is it looking? How are we doing? What do we need to know?
Yeah, so not a whole lot going on today. It is a Friday. So happy Friday, everyone, and congrats to making it to Friday.
Friday.
If you're still here and you're still watching the stream, that means you didn't totally blow up everything that you have. You maybe even made some money this week. If you're following along with Forrest and Barbie, you might have had a really good week. But on this Friday, we're selling off a little bit. Not enough where I would call it a dump or anything really notable like that. But we're moving downwards a little bit, and I'll be curious to see what Barbie has to say about NQ and what Forrest has to say about ES. Flip-flop those. We don't have any econ data out today. We've got a final reading for consumer sentiment. Nobody cares. We've got a couple earnings, but no earnings that are really notable. But I'm excited to ask our traders how they approach this next week ahead. This really big earnings week that we have. We have Apple, we have Microsoft, we got all the tech names. So I'll be curious to see how they're approaching that.
Yeah, of course. Let's bring Barbie and Forrest then and see how they're doing this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm sure everyone's also so excited to see both of you guys.
Oh, yo.
Yeah, how are we doing today? How are we feeling?
I'm good.
Doing pretty good. Ready to finish out the week.
What day is it?
Friday. Today's Friday, guys. So yeah, we have 2 days. 2 days to enjoy ourselves. All right. Well, Barbie, do you want to go ahead and talk about the most interesting chart of the day?
Sure.
Looking at.
So this one, I'm kind of looking ahead to this week at this point, since I don't trade Friday afternoons, and so I'm kind of getting ready to close out my week, and so I'm looking ahead to next week. And SoFi has earnings, so this is one that has kind of caught my eye a little bit. When I was looking at the analysis of it, we've got some people expecting it to kind of keep rallying, and then some other people are more cautious, think it's probably going to be a little bit more flat. But the things to watch, so if you're interested in SoFi and having anything to do with it coming into earnings next week, what you should look at is how you feel about their expansion into things like personal loans, and if they've had a lot of member growth or not, because those will be things that'll help them out. But then on the caution side, the things we have to watch out for are things like the impacts of interest rates, because that's, we've got some drama going on right now between Trump and Powell, the Fed president. So we don't really know what's going to go on with interest rates. It seems like Powell's staying pretty firm. So we'll see how that goes. But that is kind of the caution that you need to pay attention to on SoFi.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that. I'm sure. Yeah. Okay, Forrest, tell us about your most interesting chart of the day.
Most interesting. I always have the same chart every day, guys. I'm really boring. I suck.
Interesting, or?
But let's talk about what's interesting in general. So we had these two key levels that we marked out yesterday, right? You sent them over there. Thank you. These two levels that we marked out yesterday. Let's go to the higher time frames. So there's a swing high. We swept that, and you see that we pulled back to this naked POC here. So in the next 23 minutes, I want to see. So this was a good short level, right? You could take this back to the POC. That's like a scalp essentially. Is this going to pull back on the daily time frame though, right? Are we going to come back into this middle time frame here? That's the question. So that's what's interesting about, right now. You just sit. Thank you. That's what I'm looking for. So nothing crazy. Just trying to see if this is going to reject after this sweep, and we continue to do like one of these ranging things like this, right? Or are we just going to crack this? Is this a small liquidity sweep, liquidity grab here, and we're going to go for this next level at 20,580, right? That's kind of what I'm thinking is interesting. But I look at the same charts every day. I'm boring. Keep it simple.
All right, Forrest, real quick. Will you go back to NQ, please?
I can. What you got?
All right. Zoom in, zoom. Give me some more. Can you go keep going? Okay. A little more, a little tighter. Okay, so here's the question that I have. So you talked about this move higher, sort of towards the middle of your screen here. I don't know what the time is on that. And then we have some wicks that broke above that initial swing higher.
Yeah.
You're gonna talk about that big green candle. So like how do you think about it when you have this level marked out? We have some sort of intra-candle move above that level. It's not able to sustain that level. How are you looking for a trade when you see it start to break above it? Do you need more confirmation than that? I mean, how do you think about those intra-candle wicks?
Yeah, so these are, if you're trading the edges, like this is where you take the short. So that swing high I marked yesterday, right? I mentioned there was a divergence and it was going to grind up, and they both grinded up, right? We'll pop over to ES real quick. It grinded up to that level as well, right? So they both eventually synced higher, and that's where you should take your first attempt short. Obviously, you can just hold along into that price, but these edges, again, if you think about what's going to happen at these edges, right? We had this high here. This level's been tested 1, 2, 3 times, and then this is the fourth area here. Within every one of these daily periods, these auctions, there are people who are trapped long, right? So every day, right at the end of these candles, there are people who are going long here, right? And they immediately got smoked. So when we reapproach their entry, right, people who went long get out by selling, right? So they're going to be aggressively selling. That's why these sweeps are often the best places to attempt to short, right? There's going to be sell side pressure, right? The strength of the sell side competition will outweigh the strength of the buy side competition for some moment of time. It could be an hour, it could be 15 minutes, but you get these very often post sweep liquidity grabs, right? So if we go back to the 4 hour, we swept the edge of that auction there, and we came back to the point in yesterday's auction with the most amount of participation, right? So I've traded from edge. This is what I call mean reversion trade. It's one of my 2 core setups. You sweep an edge, you take a mean reversion trade to the point of control. The point of control is often our exit when you're trading my system. So that's why you'll hear me mention it all the time. It depends on the time frame you're looking at. Obviously, if you're shorting and holding for the other side of the range, like a swing trade, then you're not going to flatten here, right? You'll hold through all the chop, etc. But for that quick movement, you can see that the first kind of impulse was right to the next largest node. So that's how I think about them. They are, again, these edges are really the places where I want to take trades 100% of the time.
Okay. And Forrest, will you call out the levels again? This one, and then you had a level that was higher up too.
Yeah, let's zoom out a little bit.
Give us the numbers, please.
This level that we just tested was 19,381. Higher, right? We have 20,000. What is this? 584. There's also, though, right, and these intermediary prices, there's this huge node right here. So there's this wick here, and there's this node here. So if we start to traverse this, we could come and probably do like an equal highs retest of 20,044 as well, right? I could see that happening. I could mark it, for you guys. I typically don't like having so many lines on my screen, but that's what I'm thinking, right? There's another node here. We traverse this. We'll do like an equal highs retest. Probably won't sweep it today, but that's possible. On the downside, literally all of this is open because we just swept this edge. That means the next edge is on the table, right? So we're just going to crack probably down to this, somewhere inside of this candle today on the downside.
Okay. And I'm going to send it to Barbie in a second here to look at ES, but Forrest, I need to have a serious conversation with you for a second.
You found it?
Yep.
What'd you find?
Well, I found several people out there watching us that have not liked the stream yet today.
What the heck?
Several people out there watching you give these levels that have not subscribed to the channel. Several people who have not posted in the chat that they want free accounts or free resets today, which tells me that, you're here putting in all this work, drawing out the charts, trying to stare at a computer screen with sunglasses on. It's not easy to do, people.
This is hard.
Half your peripheral vision. And this man has a very nice monitor setup, working away, and you won't even take the time to post on your X account, throw it into your Discord chat. You won't like the stream. You won't subscribe to the channel, etc.
No, okay. I just don't think they're serious. I don't think they're as serious about this whole prop firm trading thing as they all say they are. Some think they are. Yeah. Maybe they don't deserve the account.
You spelt it out to us pretty clearly yesterday. You said nobody goes broke taking payouts. Maybe they don't want the payouts.
I don't think they do. I don't think they do.
So if it sounds like we described you, and you have not shared this in your social communities, you have not sent this to your grandma and said, Grandma, we need to get to 600 viewers to do a round of free resets on a fabulous Friday, now is your chance. Like, subscribe, share it around. And Barbie, I'm sending it over to you to talk about ES.
All right, well, let's talk about it. First of all, I see the chat wants resets. And I'm kind of confused about that because yesterday I told y'all if ES breaks 54.24 that we could target 54.86 and 5,500. So I gave y'all 60 points or 75 points, depending on how you look at it. So what do you need resets for? Anyway, who took this trade? If you took this trade, let me know. Because if you want me to keep telling you stuff like this, I can give you all some stuff for today too. But I do think they have some specials coming. So, let everyone know that we're giving the game away right here. There we are. Y'all took the trade. I gave y'all 60 points. 60 points on one ES. That's your account's done.
So oh my God.
$3,000 on
that
one
ES.
That
is incredible. Wow.
So let's talk about what we're looking at today. This was the yesterday candle, and we did get that move up that we were looking for, and we've kind of been hanging around that same spot. So what I'm looking at for today, we have kind of some spots. I mean, obviously the 5,500 level was resistance. We can see that pretty clearly on the daily chart. And
Barbie,
now we're I
actually have a question that's coming for you, and it's, can you break down yesterday and why you called out that level?
Yeah, there was a lot going on, so this all happened live. But the thing about doing the prep work ahead of time is that even if there's a lot going on, if you have it in your plan that if price breaks a level like this one I was looking at, the 54.24. And the price action and everything else supports that, then that's when you enter. So the price action that I was looking for, and what I had called out live when we were on yesterday, was that I noticed that we had broken this gap level. This was a previous gap level from earlier in the week. And I marked it April 13th. Yes, this is why I always mark up my charts. April 13th, top of gap. That's going to end up being a level. I noticed that we were really bullish through this level. And this was one that I probably would have taken if we didn't have this other strong level above it. But I was being a little bit more cautious just to make sure that we were going to hold this. We get a lot of fake outs in the morning. So I wanted to break through this one as well as this one. And we did the same thing. We had like a confidence candle through it. And then I always look for confluence. So that's meaning that we have more than one thing in agreement. And so these are 5-minute candles. I hope you can see. Sometimes when we restream, these things get kind of buried, but you can kind of see this line right here. So that's the opening line. This big volume candle is where we opened. So this is the opening range box right here. I've marked the high and low of the 15-minute opening range. And this is a play I watched too. Sometimes we reject off of this 15-minute level, but because we had confluence there and we had the same price action rip through both of them, and we were above both of my VWAPs here. I used 2 different VWAPs, but this is the one that goes for the full session. And then this one's just basically the SPX VWAP because it's the regular session. And then it's as easy as targeting the next levels. I get cautious around my quants. You can see why they do kind of put the brakes on it. But if I have a really strong level that I've pulled from a higher time frame chart, this is from the daily. It'll even be on the weekly, I think. The March 13th swing low. So that's just an easy target, easy peasy target. And then we had a little bit more confluence. I'd pulled this level off of the high from the other day. I don't remember. And it also kind of lined up with that 5,500 century mark. So there was a lot of confluence there too for that target. So I had confluence, which kind of leads to confidence with the entry, and then for the targets too. So that's just sometimes we're talking about we're not taking a trade every day and trading every setup. That's because when you wait for the really high quality setups like that, where you have the confidence and everything going for it, you can just go in and get things done. And then I'm really relaxed today. I don't need to make money today. I made plenty yesterday. I can chill. So that's a great finish to the week. If I find something great to look at, then I can check that out. Otherwise, I don't need to. But back to today. I'll see what I can set y'all up for today. Fridays usually are quieter. I'm not a big Friday trader. I usually just look at the morning session. So if it doesn't set up in the morning session, I'm probably done for the day. So what I'm looking at today is we had that level that I just mentioned, the 5,500 has a lot of confluence. That's support right now. It's been support overnight. So that's a level that we really need to watch. You can see it's the swing low from over here, and then it was the resistance when we were rallying back over here. So this is going to be a really important level just in general too, to see if we stay above or below. This was also the high from earlier in the week, like I was telling you. So we're still kind of in this middle central area where we can kind of go either way. And that could be today or it could be next week. But at some point, if we're going to go down, it's probably going to go into this range. If we're going to move higher, it's going to be into this range. We can kind of watch that EMA cross that I had talked about last week. I was saying that they call these things the death crosses when you have these higher EMAs. But a lot of times when we just have one little cross, that's why I'm not convinced by one little cross. I want to see the cross and we haven't really had the follow through on that and. So we're still kind of diddling in the middle a little bit, but because we get these really wide price ranges, it makes it a lot easier to trade these ranges. Let me head over to my marked up chart. I mark up my quarterly level charts so that I can keep one of my charts really clean. But so here we are yesterday, and I'm still watching this level to the downside. But I'll kind of talk about the upside plan first, since we're kind of holding there. This is something that I like to kind of watch. So on the hourly, it's pretty easy to see this sort of thing. We very clearly made this high. We very clearly broke it yesterday, and then we've come back down and retested it, and we're holding higher. If we keep holding above this 86.25, 54.86, you can call it the 85 level, but that area there, if we keep holding that, then we can keep kind of looking to keep pushing for more bullish targets. So we'll talk about those. I had that little minor level that I'm watching from that swing high, but it's also the 5,500. So pay attention to that. That's actually a pretty decent level. We have the targets that we reach for overnight. I'd mentioned these trend lines before. I'm not going to try to pull them out right now, but if you pull out to the daily or weekly, you should be able to find these really obvious trend lines just going across. And so this is what they're kind of looking like on the hourly. They're all kind of loading up in this area. So above 55.32, we have those trend lines. And then we also have this gap from, when was this gap? I don't know. It was a while ago now. The very beginning of the month. I don't remember the date. I usually mark them. But so we have this old kind of gap level to watch up here. And once we get into that gap, you've seen how these gaps work. We've had a lot of gap plays this week. Price can really accelerate through these levels once we get into that. So this yellow box is my gap box. I always mark those. The level that we're going to have to get through to really get into there is the 55.50. So that's going to be major resistance today. It was resistance overnight. We'll see if it continues to be resistance into today. There's a lot going on in this zone from 55.32 or so, probably 55.30 up to 55.55. But once we start getting through there, it's probably an easy little shot up to another 55.85, up to this gap mid up here around 56.30 and on all the way up. The gap fill is beyond 5,700 all the way up here to 57. What happens if I tap on this? It's not doing it for me. There we go. 57.12.25. Of course, because it's Friday, we could kind of end up piddling around in here. So the range, if we get range bound, I would be looking at this pre-market high. I didn't mark it, but we can pull that real quick. So that pre-market high is at, let me get that a color I can tell, 55.53. So that would kind of be the high of that range. And then the obvious one down there is that 86.25 level, 54.86.25. We could end up kind of ranging lower down into this 24 level as well if we get a wider range, because that was where we were the other day. So I always look at where the previous day's price action was. So there was yesterday, there's the day before. That's another kind of range that we could fall into and still really have more of an inside day. But we could drop and get some plays down here. If we lose 86 and have things start turning bullishly, that would kind of be an easy target down there back to that 24 level. And then I'm trying to see if I had any other notes down here, because the other thing that I was looking for is kind of the same thing we were looking for yesterday. My bearish, that's not the zoom I wanted. The bearish plan that I was going for yesterday was if we lost this 24 level, this area can be really choppy. We spent a lot of time trading inside of this kind of 5,400 to 5,415 range. But then getting back through here, there's a lot of targets. We've got the low from yesterday all the way down 53.55. Although the bearish target, if we really start accelerating and taking off all of this confidence that we had yesterday, it would be down to 53.31 and even down to, I think this was a 15 level down in here, 53.14.50. That would be if Trump upsets the market with some crazy tweet or something. That would kind of be where we're looking for that. So does that make sense? We could range in here. We could extend this range a little bit. If the market gets really excited and bullish, we could go back into this upper gap, and then we have a lower gap to mess around with too if the market gets weak today.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Barbie, for all that explanation. That was really good. I'll call in Forrest now, and maybe he can talk about his live charting set of the day, maybe NQ as well. And guys, we're going to open up the chat after Forrest for some questions that you might have for expert traders. So please write it on the comments and let us know what you would like to know today. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we might be having some free resets and maybe some free accounts coming up soon.
Awesome. So I am very similar thoughts to Barbie, right? So there's this. Oh, I'm on ES still. NQ looks very similar, right? We put them side by side. Okay, this is the 4 hour. It's rejecting that POC. These are these prices that she just mentioned, right? So if we crack below that, probably continuation lower. Looking at NQ, very, very similar candlesticks right now, right? They are often very similar, but they're very, very similar right now. So really what I want to see here is what I mentioned earlier, right? When it's 9:07, it's on 9:28, 2 minutes till the open. We're building a node down here. So we have this bimodal distribution. There's two kind of equally, magnetic nodes right now, but really we have this level right here. Want to see if we leave this and come into this liquidity above. If not, this is all what we call skinny belly, right? Skinny belly, it's often what the ICT clan likes to call, fair value gaps as well. Just an imbalance, right? But we'll race through this skinny belly. There's nobody here, right? There's nobody positioned here. We can see in the volume profile. And we'll go for the next, key liquidity, which is down here, right? Or we'll just go for this edge of the market all the way. Are we going to come and sweep this low today? I don't think so. Honestly, given that we just cracked this high, it's very unlikely to crack a swing high and a swing low inside of a session. Normally you'll do one side and then the other outside of a single session. It's a little pro tip for you. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Just watching for now. I don't have an incredible amount of bias. I do think it's Friday, so might be a tighter day. We can sometimes, we'll probably have pretty good intuition by 10:10 if we're not going to have a tight Friday and this is going to start to run, right? But for now, yeah, I don't really have a strong bias.
I think that's a good point too. Kind of the open will give us the clues we need to figure out if it's going to give us something fancy today or just kind of range.
Yep. So
that's usually how Fridays are.
Sometimes, yeah.
Open.
Yeah, there's the bell right there. Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, there we go.
Ding, ding, ding. If Friday, if it does run again, Fridays can be really nice trend days, but you'll know pretty early, guys. You'll know. So right now we already have some non-trending candles, I would say. So here's a simple way to ask yourself, instead of trying to figure out what the next candle is, ask yourself a question. Every time I see this setup, what's most likely to happen is how many times have you seen this in the morning and then you see a trend happen, right? If you can't really recall, you should be able to journal, but if you've been trading for a while, you start to get intuition about these things. So there's only so many outcomes that can happen, at each time interval with a certain set of candlesticks, right? It just starts to make sense. If we do
I really like seeing your methodical approach every day. It's very grounding.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm just a nerd in disguise. That's what
I love it.
But,
I am too, but I guess I'm a little more free spirited. I love seeing this different approach.
Yeah. This is also the result of, making every single mistake possible at some point.
Yeah. Well, we all have our different reactions to that, I guess.
Yeah.
Forrest.
What you got?
Barbie's the odd one out.
Oh no. Wait a sec.
What happened? Oh. Okay. Now we're cooking.
Oh.
I'm double glassing.
Oh, trendsetter.
Let's go. I've got more glasses.
Fabulous Friday. Chat, when you see me, it means one of two things. One, I have a very basic question that I just don't understand, like when I asked what a POC is yesterday. Two, it's time for a round of giveaway. Forrest, you can't take your glasses off now, man.
I'm cleaning. I'm sorry. I'm here. I'm ready.
You're not supposed to be able to see. It's not the point right now.
I cannot see half the things on my screen right now.
I can't see anything.
All right. Reset Boy is back, as the chat likes to call me. Rules of the road. 1, you need to be a subscriber on this channel in order to be eligible for your free reset. So I'll give you the countdown now. Subscribe. If you are watching on Instagram, you are watching on X, head over to the MyFundedFutures YouTube, hit the subscribe button, and you will be eligible. Again, we have a very advanced AI system that a guy that works here named Fabio built. We'll put Fabio's phone number in the chat so you can reach out to him and ask how the AI works. But he has that built. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel. 2, you got to be fast. 100 of you. We're doing $10,000 worth of prizes to 100 of you are going to win free resets. I hear there might be free accounts around the corner as well, so stay tuned. But code is going on the screen now. Go get those resets. Friday heat. That's why we need these glasses on, baby. We're bringing the heat today. Block out that sun. The fire is coming. Again, 100 of you are winning Friday heat. Code is on the screen now. As we're moving forward, I think Adona is going to welcome Barbie's educational segment because every single day we not only
I have to see for this.
not only deliver ideas, don't talk about the levels, but we also deliver on education. We're then going to circle back and take a look at how the levels that our expert traders have called out are looking after we're several minutes, 10, 15 minutes into the open. And we have a very special guest. Plus, of course, MyFundedFutures delivering for you every single day, somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000 worth of giveaways. More to come.
Okay, I had to put my sunglasses on too and just join the team. Awesome. Forrest says, oh. Okay, well, actually, if you guys have any questions, now is the time to ask. And yes, please keep like and subscribe because we want to be here with you every single day. So until we see some questions that we like, Barbie will let you take it on the educational lesson.
Well, today I thought we should probably take it a little bit different and kind of talk about trading psychology. I don't think we've touched specifically on that. And I just wanted to, it's Friday, so I wanted to have a little bit of fun with it. So I wanted to use the example of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy because, like we mentioned, we're nerds here. So I do love this series. If you're not familiar, definitely go check it out. But every single time that I'm in a trade and I start to feel that just like tension building and you start to feel it in your stomach or wherever, I kind of think of this guy with the stupid face and his tongue sticking out saying, don't panic, because you've got to kind of have some anchor that kind of brings you back to being calm and everything. But I wanted to talk about how we're, as traders, able to react when the trade's not going our way, because that does happen. I think a lot of the time we are focused on, we're really focused on the trade setup and we're entering the trade because we think that there's a pretty good chance that it's going to be successful. And sometimes it's not. So how do we handle that? And I think a lot of the times we think we're a lot more equipped to handle that scenario than we actually are, because sometimes it just starts ticking towards our stop a little bit and we start freaking out. So that's why you got to think of don't panic. So, I mean, that's just the way our brains work. Our brains love winning and our brains hate losing. So we don't want to get our brain hijacked like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I'm just going to lean into that one really hard today, but we don't want it to get hijacked and by emotion and lose all sense of reason, because our plan was built on reason and logic. So we need to operate from a place of reason and logic, and we cannot get hijacked by a emotional panic. So we always have to go back to don't panic. And as traders, we're always working in a system of probabilities. So we have to be able to expect losses sometimes. That's how it works. We know that, but when it actually comes to happening, there's something about it. It's usually our ego will come in or something like that. You know, you have to detach from that ego. If you think back to whatever psychology you had in school and the ego, that's what you have to detach yourself from, because that's not the trader. You're the trader. Your ego is not your trader. Your ego doesn't know about all the probabilities and all the back testing that you've done. That's how you build confidence in your system, is through all of your back testing and everything. So you have to let go of that. You have to let go of being wrong, because it's not a matter of being right or wrong when you're dealing with probabilities. The probability is, if you have the same thing and you've back tested it and you've gone over the system or the trade or the setup over and over and over again, that probability says that this much of the time you're going to be right, but this much of the time you're going to be wrong. So you do have to kind of expect that. And instead of getting down on yourself and feeling like, oh, I was wrong, you need to put it into the perspective of that's just part of the infinite improbability of trading. Hitchhikers fans will know what I'm talking about there. It's the infinite improbability. And that basically just means that there is randomness in the market. So even if you have a setup that has a above average win rate and is a really strong trade and a really good successful trade, there's still a randomness to the market that could take it out. And that's where we get our loss percentage. We do make mistakes as traders. You do have to be able to separate your mistakes from a reasonable loss, a loss that happened because of the randomness and the probabilities, where we're going to actually have losses sometimes. There are mistakes. I make mistakes. I'll have the wrong thing pulled up where I think I'm trading minis, but I'm trading micros, or I just right click instead of left click. You know, we all make mistakes. So that's not what I'm talking about here. When we make a mistake, at the same time, we can't let our ego come in and say, well, no, if we make a mistake, we get out of the trade, we fix the mistake right away. We fix the mistake, reset, don't panic, and get back into the trade. So a lot of the ways that we teach you to manage your trade and everything are the things that are going to help keep you from panic. So that's when you trust your stop loss. So when you have a mathematical system and you've trusted it, and you have a plan and you've defined your risk, you can, that's where the art of the mostly harmless risk management comes from, where you're making sure that your position sizes don't wipe you out. And when you have confidence that your position sizes won't wipe you out, that'll also help keep you from panicking. So you have to be able to trust that. So if you're over leveraging, you need to be able to recognize that and pull back on your leverage and not be going in so hard. So I hope that kind of helps ground you and give some perspective on your trades and kind of the thought process of how I think through some of how I don't panic when things are not going right for me in a trade. So I don't know, what are some of the funniest things that have gone wrong for y'all? I'll tell you, I'll kind of close it out here. On one of my very first streams, I was just very casually trading. I don't even remember which account. I think it was one of my PA accounts. And I was just, oh, this is great. I'm just going to go in with, this looks like this is a pretty good trade. I'll go in with 12 micro MES. And so I went in with 12, and then I was like, oh yeah, this is great. I was talking to the chat, and then I noticed my P&L, because I had not entered with 12 MES. I had entered with 12 ESs. So fortunately, it was in profit. And I did kind of have that second of hesitation, but then I just immediately closed it, because that was a mistake. That wasn't the plan. But that is always a thing. You just have to immediately close it. And I stayed really calm. And I just texted one of my friends like, oh shit, you would not believe what I just did. But let me know some of the crazy things that y'all have done on that route too. So
Yeah, let us know on the chat, guys. I don't really see many questions that anyone wants answers to. So, but I love what you said, Barbie. Don't panic. And I feel like that's a great lesson just in life generally. So, with that, we're actually going to bring, hold on, I saw a comment. Okay, no, never mind. Okay, well, with that, we're going to bring Forrest, and it's actually very much in line with don't panic. So, how do you manage risk, Forrest?
Yeah, I just, flip a coin and pray. No. So risk management. Let's break it down. So psychology, and this really goes into, you know, again, what Barbie was just talking about. There's a few major categories of risk, right? So there's like trade risk, and then there's capital risk, right? And there's a few other types of things that we could talk about, right? So trade risk is like, what are the odds I win this trade? Okay. So you probably don't have good data on this unless you have good performance tracking and you have setups, right? So most of you as traders need to work to the point where you actually have some general, like, you know, rough order of magnitude. These are the odds on this particular setup. And then there's a risk to your capital stack, right? So this is important because we all have different amounts of money, right? We're all trading to make money. So even if you go into a good trade, right, you've got aces in hand, but it's 10% of the time that this trade loses, right? So let's say you go into a trade with a 90% win rate. You go in with a 90% win rate, but lose, okay? You should expect to lose 10% of the time. So what is the risk to my capital stack? This is important because if you're trading a small account, which a lot of you are, which is fine, or even if you're trading really any account, you need to not have no individual trade should have you sweating bullets for your capital stack, right? Because you can't trade without money, right? Prop firms make it way more accessible. MyFundedFutures, obviously, you guys are asking for resets right now, so you get it. You get that you can't trade without money. So every single trade that you're in, you need to ask yourself, how many at bats? There's tons of ways that you can do it, but it's like, if I did this trade, if I lost 5 times in a row, would that smoke me? If I lost 10 times in a row, would that smoke me? Right? But in general, sorry, I'm getting blown up by notifications here. In general, you need to separate these two types of risk. Okay, you don't want to conflate them or mix them together, right? This is really, really important because, right, you could go into a good trade with the wrong amount of leverage, right? So, and let's say that you pair that with a mistake, right? You pair that with, actually, let's just use the same example. So you go into a trade, a high % winning trade, but you quadruple your leverage for some reason. You lose the trade, and you lose so much money that you actually can't even take another trade, right? You're so demoralized and everything that you made one big bad mistake. A lot of you have probably done this. You blow up an account, right? Maybe you were winning for days and then you did some high leverage trade. You blew your accounts up, right? Even though it was a good setup, or you just couldn't hold the drawdown because your leverage was so high, right? You were like 20 points red, but it was a reasonable amount of drawdown. But because you increased your leverage, you blew up your capital stack, even though the trade risk was good, right? So those are two ideas to keep in mind. In general, your goal as a trader is to just stay alive, stay in the game. If you can stay in the game, eventually you'll get dealt a good hand and you can make a lot of money all at once, right? Or just continue with your base hits. There's a ton of other things in risk management in terms of RR and stuff like that, but this is really, I think, higher level what a lot of people should just be thinking about. And if you think about these things, if any of you are in a trade right now, ask yourself, what will happen to me psychologically if I lose this trade? Is it going to be the end of the day for me, or will it just be a small chip on the shoulder and you'll just keep going about your business, right? But no individual trade should ruin you, right? If you're trading such high leverage that's the case, that's a problem. Here's another. I'll give you one more freebie. Okay. A lot of you guys have trouble holding winners and versus holding your losers, right? You hold your losers too long and you cut your winners too fast. So what'll happen is, say you're up like $500. Okay. Let me get rid of this. You're up $500. Man, TradingView is going crazy. Up 500. So you cut it, right? You cut it because you get antsy, right? You get antsy that you're finally green. You're afraid of losing the 500. But in the same day, you are down 2K and you hold it. All right. How many of you have done that in the chat? All right. Go ahead and put your virtual hands up if you've done that in the chat. Okay. it's something that we do all the time. You need to flip this, right? Just cut early and hold your winners, right? The market only goes up or down. If it starts to go in your direction, you should see how far in your direction it's going to go, right? At least till your thesis is done. So we could talk about entries and exits, and all those things do matter, but most of you guys literally just get antsy and you just start pressing buttons too many times.
I've done that.
Yeah, we've all done it. We've all done it, right? Yeah, that's
we got a lot of hands in the chat too.
A lot of hands in the chat.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to ask Forrest in a second here to talk about all these alerts that are going off. You know, he mentioned a couple times, so we'll get to that in a second. On a more serious note, with regard to our comments in the chat, we have a lot of people asking for free resets and free accounts. That's fine. I got word to instruct everyone that we also want more constructive commentary in the chat, which will include me leading the charge. So you'll see some constructive comments from myself. But boiling it down, whoever has the most interesting, insightful comment of the day today in our chat, you've got between, we'll go now and 10:10 Eastern, 22 minutes. You are going to win a free account. All right.
That's awesome.
Most insightful, instructive comment in the chat. 2, if we need to prove to the world and to the folks that I work with that we deserve free accounts and free resets, we need to at least get to 800 today on a Friday. All right. We got 600. We gave away 100 resets. I've got accounts lined up, and not just the EL2, the eval to live accounts. I got free accounts on deck. I've got free resets on deck, but we're not getting there until we get to 800. We've got 20 minutes on that countdown as well. Again, if you are in a Discord community, can you put a 1 in the chat? I'm asking if you're in the Discord community, can you please put a 1 in the chat? All right. If you have an X account, can you please put a 2 in the chat? Oh my gosh. So many of you put 1s. So many of you put 1s that I have no way that I'm going to be able to go back and read all those insightful comments. So you're going to need to put those again too. I could have thought about a better order. All right. So what you're going to do is
just make Fabio make an algo to do it.
Yeah. Fabio will have an algo. And that's why we put his phone number in there, so that way you guys can give him feedback on his algos. But you're going to go to YouTube, okay? You're going to look for the URL bar. It's going to be towards the top of your screen. It's going to say something like youtube.com. You're going to click into that. You're going to hit Control-C on Windows, Command-C on Mac. Okay, Control-C, Command-C. That's the copy function, a pretty advanced function some of you may not know. And then you're going to go ahead, open up your Discord communities, and you're going to hit Control-V on Windows, Command-V on Mac, and share this link into your YouTube chat. Again, if we think that on this fabulous Friday, we deserve another round of free accounts, paste those links. Let's get it up to 800 between now and 10:10 Eastern. And I am going to be reading all of these insightful comments with a donut, and whoever has the most insightful comment wins. And Forrest, over to you. Why are you getting all of these alerts, sir?
Those are actually just a bunch of text messages I was getting at.
He's just so popular. It's Friday. They all want Forrest.
I thought that was your trading view alerts. Okay.
No. No, I'm just
all right, wait. Read us the best text message you got. Okay, no, you don't have to do that. All right, Barbie, we're 20 minutes off the open. Anything interesting happening?
I was just noticing. So I watched that orb situation, the 15-minute orb, and we just broke the lower 15-minute range, which was off the bottom of this very opening candle, and we are at a magic level there. So the first target would really be these lows down here. So we'll see if that plays out. because it's Friday, I have lower confidence in breakout trades, but they can still happen. So that's what we're kind of watching or what I'm watching. My community's watching it too. I see them chatting about it, this orb level.
I see some really good questions in the chat though.
Let's hit those.
Do you have a favorite?
Someone asked how they should trade a prop account, like their MyFundedFutures account. Should they trade it like a personal account? See some questions about volume profile and trading with confidence.
All you have to do is offer them a free account, and then we get the good questions.
When you're trading funded accounts, how do you manage the psychological pressure of hitting daily loss limits? That's a good one. How do you manage the psychological pressure of hitting a daily loss limit while staying confident in your trading? This is a simple equation for everyone, whether you're trading a prop account or a real account. And it ties into what we were just talking about. How many times could you risk money before blowing up your account, assuming you never want to trade? Okay. Is it 10 times, right? If you're trading so high leverage in your prop account that you can only take, let's just say 3 trades. If you're wrong 3 times in a row, you blow the account up, you got to lower your leverage. For most of you guys, and I've seen this, right? Because I've worked with a lot of traders as well. And I look at their trades. A lot of people have setups or that they go through periods where they feel like they can win at trading. They're just trading too much leverage and they start to freak out. You want to be able to trade. You want to trade such a small amount of leverage that you could walk away and you literally just don't care. Like it has to almost be trivial. That's important too as you scale up, right? If you eventually want to trade like 2 or 3 in queue in your own account, you're gonna have to, you know, have a ton of money in your account, in your personal account, right? So same for a prop account, just trade smaller. Okay, trade smaller is the answer. Okay, so especially in a market like this, right? Trade smaller and trade less. Okay, if you trade smaller, trade less, hold longer, you'll do better. That's typically will keep you alive, and as you stay alive, you'll become better as a trader, and you'll make money anyways.
Awesome. Barbie, any comment from you about like trading prop accounts versus personal accounts?
I don't know if you can share the graphic that I pulled up. If you can share it. Yeah, this is the way that I kind of think of a lot of people trading. So you see your prop account and you think you can shoot with this one, but you still need to properly size. This is not going to work. And this is what a lot of people do when they suddenly get a prop account, is they think that they're working with something a lot bigger than they are, but you're really working with that same small account drawdown. So treat it like your own small account if you want to be serious and keep it growing. This is what I see everybody doing. It really is.
Okay.
Is it not? Like this is trying to shoot something that's not going to fit in that account. And what happens is then you hit your limits. Either you blow the account or hit that limit for the day, the daily drawdown limit. And if you're adequately sized, it's a lot harder to do that. If you size where you can have 2 or 3 losing trades, whatever your max losing trades are going to be, you have to be able to actually take that in your drawdown. Otherwise, you're being a little too optimistic, because you have to size for losing and not just winning. We all want this winner, but you've got to be able to fit it in your account.
All right. I've got a personal one for you, Barbie.
Uh-oh.
All right. So something that I think you've alluded to in the past, we've all done it. So even if you haven't alluded to it, I know you've done it. Early in your trading career is we chase hype. You know, do you still find yourself chasing hype sometimes? Have you?
I have the temptation.
How did you get out of that and having your system?
It's that FOMO. That's where that comes from, is we think we're going to miss out. But what I've realized in just doing this day after day after day is that there's always a new opportunity. So the way that I've kind of built my system is, well, I got really frustrated. I was like, why is nothing working? I'm doing everything right. Why is my account balance not getting higher? And so I just kind of had this moment where I stripped everything back and I pulled all the indicators off my chart, and I scrapped my whole trading plan, and I just started from literal scratch. And I only added the things that I was really, really missing back. And I started my plan just one trade at a time. So I decided I was going to become an expert in the S&P 500, and I was going to become an expert in one particular setup until I could hit I could execute the trade as well as I could in back testing. So in the live market, I could execute it as well as I could if I'm doing playback. And then I can move on to another setup. And I think that we want to just start big and do it all, because that's where the excitement is. But it's kind of like the tortoise and the hare thing. If you slow down and kind of take it one step at a time, you end up ahead in the long run. So that's the way that I've dealt with it, is just is stripping everything back and going back to the basics. So whenever I feel myself kind of tilting and going back into those old habits, I do the exact same thing. And I literally have in a notebook, I know we talk about journaling all the time, but I have multiple notebooks, and in my notebook, I literally have written down the rules of the plays that I will take. And if it's not written down, I don't take it. So just have that, just building that discipline is where kind of all that gets grounded. You have to stay grounded, right? So that being able to check in with yourself and strip everything back down to basics is what helps for me.
Thank you, Barbie. Yeah, I feel like that's very, very important. Trading is not just strategy, it's also learning how to have the right mindset and how to handle your emotions, and which is going to be great because those are some questions we're going to ask our next guest that's going to be joining us. Also, I have seen a lot of your comments and they're really, really nice. So thank you so much for asking those beautiful questions. We are running out of time to answer those, but I'm sure I can bring some up when we're talking to the guest. Without further ado, we'll welcome Jesse, Trading with Jesse.
What's going on, guys? Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Doing well. How about you guys?
We're doing
Doing great.
well.
Fantastic.
Oh, we just got
Yeah.
some numbers in. The chart's going
Yeah, I
insane.
was
If
just
you guys
looking at
look at
that.
that candle.
I actually did want to ask the chat one more last question. I don't know if they voted yet. If you're feeling more bullish or bearish today, please add your vote. All right, Jesse. I know that you're very big on like grid mentality, grid emotions, not letting like a trade like defeat you. Can you talk to our audience a little bit about that and what helps you?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, right, it's very easy for us because this is like a performance sport to have one trade really get us down. Like one trade, one day, one really bad day could really just mentally destroy us for days or even a couple weeks. But the reality is, if you've been doing it long enough, one trade, one day, one week, even 1 month doesn't truly define us as a trader when we go back and look at our stats, right? So like if you're profitable, so right, if you had a really good year in 2024, 2025 you're starting off a little rough, that doesn't necessarily define you as a trader. It's just a rough start to the year. So we have to think of it more of like a bigger supply of data, and not just the microscope of watching, oh, I had a bad week, oh, I had a bad couple months.
Mm-hmm. What do you feel like helps you like come back? Like, do you feel like it's just like telling yourself that it's okay and next day will be better? Or how do you like process?
I love that question because it's one of those things that I talk about often, right? How do you come back from the red? It's simple, it sounds simple, but I know it is difficult to apply. It's the simple fact that I know I can make it back. But like earlier, I heard somebody say that no one trade should wreck you, no one trade should destroy you. I had once years ago, I had a great month of November. And then the very last day of November, I gave back the entire month's profits, thousands of dollars, thousands. This was years
Wow.
ago. And at that point, I think that was kind of like a turning point in that aspect for me, because I made it back and some, of course, moving forward. And that's when I said to myself, well, it's not a big deal if you're red today. It's not a big deal if you're red this week, because you're still the same trader that did it well up until that moment, which means you can repeat it. You can make it back. So any red, you can make it back if you remain manageably red. You know, like if you get back a whole year's profit because of major tilt, that's, you can come back from that, but it's not going to be easy at all, because you're still that same trader. You're still. I had a session of tilt myself yesterday, and today I'm nicely in the green, and I've passed a few accounts. So I've been doing this for almost 9 years, and tilt is still a part of something that I'll fight every so often, but not like it used to be, right? So like it used to be, I go on tilt all the time. Now I might go on tilt twice, 3 times a year at most, but I'll catch myself when I'm on that tilt, and I'll pull the reins back before it gets out of hand.
I love that. Yeah. I feel like as you grow and as you develop, you also learn how to come back quicker. But I did have one other question that I would like to know. Do you feel like you lead more on intuition or do you lead more on logic?
No, logic. As far as intuition goes for me, I would have to. The only time I really kind of apply it is when I see the news, right? Like the technical analysis with the news all coupled together, giving me the setup. And a good case of that was this week, about 2 days ago, when Donald Trump came out, right? And he said that, well, the news came out and they said that he was going to be rolling back on those tariffs, pulling back and folding. I saw that, right? And we saw the market rally off that. And I thought to myself, I'm not too sure about this. So I dug in a little bit deeper. I actually heard what he had to say. And then I coupled all of that, like macro data, with the chart and entered an overnight trade where I initially entering the trade fumbled it a few times and was red. I want to say about $2,500 or something like that. And wound up the next morning with that trade being an overall profit of 8,000 minus my loss that I made back. It was a banger of a trade, but that was me. One could say intuition, because the market, or not the market, but people on social media were saying one thing and everybody was focused on one direction. And I thought to myself, no, the macro and the chart is telling me something different. And I went the opposite and nailed a really good trade overnight.
Wow, that's a great story. That's amazing. All right, can you show us your chart?
So earlier, I actually took this trade right here. We popped into this 360 zone. And if we scroll back here a little bit, you can see this zone was previously a level of support, right? You can see it here in the overnight. We had support here. We bounced, pushed up, new highs of the session. We pulled in, held just above it. And we know the range now is much bigger than it's been in some time. So we're holding, this is your support bottom here. Right here, we have like a little pivot support here, support here. And then this morning, I started to notice, if you zoomed in, because I'm big on support and resistance and chart patterns. And we started to notice we were making those lower lows here. And he broke it. And initially we had a quick knee-jerk reaction to the upside. I was actually in bed. I was watching it on my phone. I don't like to trade from my phone, so I didn't enter any trades. I was like, damn it, I should run to my desk because there's a short opportunity there. I missed this. I wanted to short this quick wick up into this region. I missed that completely. And then we, came all the way back down here. We started to bounce lightly. When we started to bounce lightly, I actually put out some orders right in here in this 360 zone to short. I didn't get any fills, obviously. I went about my morning. I forgot about it. I was mad. Emotions are always something that we're going to fight with. I was upset. It's easy to FOMO when you're like that. But I just said, okay, you know what? If this trade idea is good and this market's going to bounce back a little bit, I'll have a shot at taking that scalp, at least one shot. And sure enough, I waited all morning here. And then right before I came on, we had this quick pop right back into this 360 level. I ended up grabbing a short order right here. I put a couple orders out they got filled. When we started to reject, I added and I took profits into this move to the downside here. So that was a really nice trade for me this morning. It's been the only trade I've taken this morning in my funded accounts.
Awesome. If you guys have any questions for Jesse, please add those in the chat. If you want to know anything specific about his trading setups, please let us know.
Right now, I'm just looking to see if we're going to keep holding resistance here. If we don't and we break up above this 60, then for me, anyways, I'm not going to be looking long or short or anything. I'm just going to be sitting on my hands to see if we're going to get a push back up here. If we do get a push back up here into this 550, then I'll be more interested in seeing if we're going to have a short setup or not. Otherwise, I think we might just get choppy.
Yeah, it looks
It's
like
kind of lining right up with my ES level too. The 5532 is kind of in the same relative spot with those overnight levels on NASDAQ. We're all thinking the same thing today.
Yeah. I mean, the levels are clear. The levels are there. The only thing that, we're seeing is that the ranges are big. So like,
yeah,
they're not going to be to the penny, right? Like if we're thinking, resistance here, it might pop up into 380 before it rejects.
that's true. Something I wanted to ask you and like to ask everyone is like, what does your like preparation look like every day or just around trading in general?
That's what I love about trading futures. When I traded equities, my preparation on the morning was so much longer because it was sit down, look at my scanners, make a list of individual stocks, then go see if there's news on why they're gapping up, why they're gapping down, draw out my technical analysis. Like it was just a lengthy morning. Now it's similar, but not as complex because all I'm looking at is NQ, ES, right? SPY, and then the macro news, right? What do we got at 9:45? Do we have anything at 10? Did we have anything at 8:30? And that's it. It's not like before where it was very, very detailed in the stocks, right? And like the individual names and their news catalyst specifically. Here we're just looking at a broader news catalyst. So it's a lot simpler. I mean, I can get the morning ready in about 30 minutes for the most part. Sit down, draw out my levels, and take a look at the news, and that's it. Very simple.
How would you? So I 100% agree with that. Like my prep time has gotten way shorter. But I've also been trading for a long time as well. Do you think for a new person it would be that fast, or should they expect to take a little bit more time getting ready in the morning?
No, I always tell. So it's the same thing across the board. I always tell new traders, take your time. Like for example, like we can look at a chart. And we can spot a chart pattern if you're a chart pattern trader rather quickly. A new trader might take a while, like this 15-minute chart that I just popped up here. A new trader might look at this and not see it, but initially this morning we had a little bit of a small head and shoulders pattern. You see the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder. We broke that neckline, and as soon as we broke that neckline, that's when we had that big flush all the way back down here into this previous support zone. A newer trader might not see that, or it might take them longer to see that. I saw that on my phone, not even on like a platform, just on like investing.com. I went into their futures chart, I clicked candlesticks, and I saw it. So it all comes with experience. The more experience you have, the faster you can see things. The less experience you have, the longer it takes you. But that's the beauty of this. As long as you dedicate time, you put hours in these charts throughout time, years, you'll get there.
That's kind of what I was talking about a little bit, where I like to focus on one setup at a time, and I think we're always in a rush to get it all done and get to the finish line. But if you focus on one thing at a time and get really, really great at it, it makes everything easier. It makes your prep easier and your trading easier. So
yeah, exactly.
I like that approach.
It's
so actually,
your time.
Go ahead, Justin.
No, go ahead.
I actually did get a question in the chat for all of you guys. And the question says, please, Barbie, Forrest, and Jesse, what was the real change you had? What changed that made them profitable? What behaviors changed? What changed when you started to see profits? I believe that's the question.
You guys want to go first?
I think Jesse should go first. You're our guest.
You're
All right, thank you. Well, I smiled when I heard the question because I had a live stream this Wednesday, and someone, I don't remember, somebody asked a question or somebody asked a similar question, and it just allowed me to go on a rant about that. There, to me, anyways, there's no real aha moment, no turning point. There was no day that everything just lit up, right? That light just shined, and I was like, oh, I figured it out. I'm a profitable trader now. We're always learning. The market is always teaching us. If you're not a student of the market, always, the market has a funny way of humbling. Like the day that you're like, oh, that's it, I'm practically a hedge fund trader, that's the day that you blow up the accounts. That's the day you lose $10,000, and the market just humbles us. Like it's just always been as a trader, I've always just been evolving year after year after year. You know, I've gotten better at certain things. I've maybe gotten a little bit worse at other things. All as long as at the end of it all, I total out and I'm green and I'm profitable, then I was successful. But I don't believe, at least for me personally, that there's an aha moment. There could be individual aha moments where you fine tune something within your strategy or your psyche, and that catapults you to the next level. But when you're at that next level, there's going to be another aha moment as you grow as a trader. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
I agree with that completely. That was kind of what I was going to say. It wasn't like one day I woke up and became profitable. It was like over time, I got really, really good at doing this trade. And then I was like, okay, I can add another. And then I got really, really good at doing that trade. And so I've had light bulb moments where all of a sudden support and resistance trading made sense, or all of a sudden I understood like, oh, that's why we don't buy that high, but we can buy this high and things like that. So I've had little light bulb moments where some skill or technical analysis situation made sense to me and became a lot easier. But it wasn't one day I became profitable. It's like these things build over time. And then if you just keep focusing, you don't focus on the profit so much. We come into this as like, well, I want to make $500 a day, or I want to make $1,000 a day. But we need to focus on, I want to get really, really good at this. Because if you focus on getting really, 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 really good and focusing on the charts and what you're actually doing, the profits come. Because once you have the skills that you need, then you look at how you can leverage that and put that to work in the market. But you can't put the cart before the horse. And I think that's what a lot of people think. It's just going to be this light bulb moment where all of a sudden everything's in order.
What if I have a really well-trained horse that's just good at pushing carts?
I have a well-trained horse too, and he's a specialty at that one thing. Do you see what I'm saying? No, he's not going to be great at doing everything in the market.
I'm kidding. But yeah, I agree with everything you guys said. I think for me, I mean, like many other traders, I had some substantial bad days. So my biggest loss that I always tell people, I lost like $500,000. It was unrealized. So I was up massive on like a SPAC options trade. I basically just became Icarus. I was like, trading is easy. Shit can't touch me. Like I got this, right? So I got greedy. I got very, very greedy, like very, very greedy. And I lost like $500,000 in like 30 minutes. I was in Egypt for a month.
Oh my God.
Imagine you're in Egypt for a month. You're just trading on your phone because you can't mess up anyways. I'm like on the way to some pyramid or something in the middle of the desert. And I just watch my account value just go down hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I'm just like,
golly.
on here. But
that's a bad place to lose.
like is my out, or am I just, but so then I took 4 months off of trading after that. Honestly, I got back to Egypt and I was just like, dude, I need to change my
I need to figure out my life.
But on the flip side, it's like, I had the money to lose, so like I kept trading and got back into it. But that's when I became, much more serious about, risk management and things like that. And like I've made the money back, since then. That was a few years ago now, but it's just things like that where you're just like, I'm an actual idiot. Like, why wouldn't you just like at least trail half, or something? You know what I mean? Just like
lock some in.
Yeah, just something. So
I think we've all given up profits, but you might take the record there.
I don't wish that upon anyone.
Camera zoomed in on me. There we go. So this one of the people I learned a lot of trading from over the years, he had one thing that he kind of embedded in me, and it was that experienced traders focus on, how much they're going to lose on a trade, where inexperienced traders focus on how much they're going to make on a trade. And that was a lesson that sat with me well. That's risk management 101.
Yeah. Everything we've talked about ties in together too. I hope everyone should be profitable next week.
Hope they're writing it down.
Got some crazy.
Well, Jesse, it's been such a pleasure to have you here on the show. And I know even our audience enjoyed you so much. So thank you for being here and sharing your knowledge and wisdom with all of us. We really
thank you guys for having me.
appreciate
It was a real treat.
Thank you. Yeah. Any final thoughts? Anything you want to say before you leave? Maybe where
No.
people can find you?
Yeah, you guys can find me right here on YouTube, Trading with Jesse W. My channel there. I post 2 to 3 videos a week, and I do a few live streams every once in a while. Did one last week, did another one this week. So who knows? Maybe we'll do another one next week. Give away some accounts as well.
Nice. Thank you so much, Jesse. Have a great
Thank you
day.
guys. Have a good one.
All right. I hate it when our guests leave.
Yeah, he's fun.
Yeah, he was so great. I loved him. Amazing. Okay, well, do you guys have any final thoughts? Anything you want to say? We're coming close to the end. We might have Luke back. I'm not so sure. He's kind of upset, but maybe he'll come back.
What do we need? Do we need more likes? What are we going for? How do we bring Luke back? Likes?
Yeah, I think
Like
we
the
need
stream.
more
Try
likes
something.
and more views. Come on. And then we're also building a community, guys. We're actually trying to build something where we can all come learn, grow, and help each other. But I know it takes time to build, but that's our goal. So if you want to be a part of that, please join us. We're here every week, Monday through Friday. So yeah. All right, I'll hand it to you guys. Any final thoughts? Anything you want to share?
Sure. So I guess I'll just, we had the 10 a.m. candle. Let's talk about what formed. Let's just actually go to the one here real quick. So you can see here, 9 to 10 a.m. close here in just the first 20 minutes of this next candle, right? We've popped back up across this range. I had our session VP here, went and retested the point of control, right? So it went and seeked out that major liquidity area. If we stay under on the bottom side of this, right, we'll do like a lowercase b-shaped VP, which should give us some continuation lower, probably, settlement open next week, right? If it doesn't do it today, right? So if we just pin, and pinning means that we just come down and we just build a bunch of value here, but it never actually leaves the range. We just have a range day. That B-shaped VP where all of the bias forms lower usually gives us a continuation that way, right? Especially when we're at an edge right now, right? So if we zoom out, we're at a relative edge in the market, okay? So in this range, this relative range here, we went and traversed it, we're back to the top edge, right? So shorts up here are enticing to me in general across higher time frames. Inside of this session though, still tight, still choppy. We're not really getting any fast candles. It mean reverted. So I personally am not too keen to really look for much here today. Again, most of my trades I'm holding for a few hours. I just want to get in and just let them cook. And that's just kind of where I am as a trader today. So that setup isn't necessarily there for me just yet. There was this little short scalp. I did take that again, which technically, I mean, I shouldn't have even taken that one, but I'll beat myself up later about it. That's all I'm thinking for today. We'll see. I feel like we're going to get a move here like right after we get off or at 11, to be honest.
Thank you, Forrest. Actually, guys, I did get a word from someone saying that the chat behaved really, really well today. So thank you so much for asking the right questions and being here with us. And we're actually are going to give you guys, maybe I'm not going to give it away just yet, but we have something for you coming shortly.
I'll put my hat on for it since they were
yeah,
here.
Yeah. I'll put my sunglasses on for it too. Maybe we'll bring Luke in. Luke, you come and do the Luke.
Meet him. Where is he?
I'm
Someone
back.
asked about the weekly close. Real quick, last Friday of the month, and when you have the monthly and the weekly candle closing at the same time, that tends to be a really good setup for options, what I call gamma trades. That's all I'll say there. But it is not.
Oh, wait. Say 40 more seconds on that.
Yeah. So when you have the monthly and the weekly closing on the same day, right, which doesn't happen that often, you get really good option opportunities. Yeah, just go look for yourself. But end of the month Fridays are also good. Can be good gamma trade days. I would look for like the afternoon for that, like 2 o'clock today.
And are you talking about like on what assets? On individual stocks? On some of the ETFs?
So I trade, yeah, good question. I trade just index options, right? So SPX,
Okay.
DX. You can trade like Apple options, Tesla, things like that. Those things will often have the same moves. But those candle closures, I kind of think of it as the candles are completing a story and they've run out of time, right? So you'll often get these end of day impulses, especially when candles are the periods are overlapping with each other. It's just something that I've journaled and noticed across a long period of time. If you have, like, I've shared like my gamma, I have my playbooks in Notion. I've shared my community, and it's just one of the A+ setup criteria. It's just those time periods overlapping.
All right. Barbie, you trade some options as well. Does the weekly and monthly close do anything for you?
That's not a trade in my playbook right now, but Forrest has inspired me. I might have to go look at that one, see if I can add it.
All right.
I do have an end-of-day iron condor that we have been working on in the trading ranch. So that's the one that's been my focus. We've been making a lot of money on that one.
Awesome. All right. It is Fabulous Friday. I would like to give a big thank you to our community for being here with us. This is the end of week 2. It is coming to a close. If you're watching right now, I would like you to raise your hand. You're not doing an oath, but pat yourself on the back for caring enough to want to become a better trader, for joining this community, for listening to the advice from others, from spending time with friends, community, and most importantly with MyFundedFutures. As a big thank you to all of you for being here with us and wanting to build with us and being a part of something that we're creating that, you know, you see a shell of today, but is going to become significantly larger over time. We have free accounts for you all. The rules of the road are simple. 1, you must be a subscriber on our YouTube channel to be eligible to win per usual. So if you have not yet hit that subscribe button, hit the subscribe button. So for 50 free starter accounts, 50 starter accounts. Big thank you to the chat for behaving as Adona noted. Code is going on the screen now. 50 free accounts.
Go.
Jesse W Friday. These are your 50K starters. 50 of you out there are winning. Again, code is Jesse W Friday on the screen now. I'm going to put something else into the chat. Okay. I'm putting a code right now. Code. And there's the link. All right. Boom. I'll make sure. Oh, man, my code got screwed up. All right. Code is going to go into the chat in a second here. If you were not one of the 50 who won a free account, don't worry. We may or may not have some more coming right around the corner next week. But today, deal ending today, we have $82 starter accounts. This is a plan that we very rarely discount. We did it for you all. People ask us for it. So $82 starter accounts. And Barbie, guess what the activation fee on this account is? Guess.
I think it's my favorite price, which is $0.
Let's go.
$0. $82 starter. Boom.
Like
all right.
$0 across.
So that's all in. Once you earn the account, you don't owe anything else. You're done. You get to have it. That's it.
It's your account. Link is in the chat.
Have to pay. There's no other fee. That's it.
Crazy. Yep. Check it out. All right, y'all. I will see you next week. I'm going to bring Adona back to close us off and send us into the rest of our Friday.
Thank you, Luke. Yay. Okay, so well, Barbie, thank you so much for being here today and sharing your expert
Absolutely.
advice with everyone and just helping us build this community for sure. Thank you. And then thank you, Forrest. Thank you so much for everything you share and how much you help everyone. Thank you for your golden gems. Thank you so much, guys. Wait, I'm not. All right. Well, we have come to the end of today's market journey. Whether you're bullish, bearish, or simply just building your playbook, remember, knowledge is your most valuable asset. My name is Adona, and this is MyFunded TV. Until next time, trade smart, but live well. Thank you.